Okay, so hi everyone. Should we make a start rather than wait for people to join? We've got quite a bit to cover. So yeah, we can crack on, I think. So just to introduce myself, so I'm Dr. Tom Kingstone. I'm a senior lecturer in mental health and wellbeing at Keele University, and also I work jointly at the at Midlands Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust within the Research and Innovation Department. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about during the webinar are related to the work undertaken in that Research and Innovation Department. If you could just skip back a slide, sorry, Jay. Sorry, yeah, just to introduce you to the session overall. So obviously this is the first webinar as part of the NIHR Insight Engagement Programme for the West Midlands. And the idea within this engagement programme is to showcase regional excellence in research training and development available to you now, but also in the future, particularly to undergraduate students of health and care and social work professions, again, across the region. So what we're going to do today, so next slide, thanks, Jay, is talk about what we've been doing within the Research and Innovation Department at MPFT. And most of that is focused around something called the STARS programme. So early doors in terms of the acronym. So that stands for Supporting the Advancement of Research Skills. And it's really a programme designed to develop research awareness and expertise. So I'm joined by Jay. So Jay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, thank you, Tom. So I'm Jay Tanner, STARS Project Manager, so working closely with Tom and some other people in the room.
Thanks, Jay. And you're in control of the tech today, so good luck. So next slide, please. Okay, so just to give you a point of reference, I suppose, for the webinar today. So what we're going to do is just have a quick intro around the room, just to check in, see who's here and what you're studying at the minute, where you are in terms of your research journey, just so I can get a scope on that. Discuss a little bit in terms of why research might be important to health and social care, again, just to get a bit of context in the room, and then we'll take a bit of a dive into what the STARS programme is, what's on offer. Here's some reflections from a learner that's been involved in STARS, and then as a bit of a bonus, we're going to talk through another piece of training resource that's available to you now that you can access around research methods and in health and social care. And then we'll have time at the end for some Q&A. So next slide, please. Okay, so just to get a bit of a feel for who's in the room, have we got the chat function activated for everyone? Hopefully. So if you could just say a quick hello, introduce yourself. So what are you studying at the minute? Where are you in terms of your education? Give you a couple of seconds just to do that. You coming through? Hello. Yeah. Pharmacy, biomedical, physiotherapy. Lots of pharmacists. That's good. Thanks, Ella. Hello. That's great. Nice mix in the room. Hi, Sophia.
Hi. Oh. Are we messaging or are we able to talk?
You can talk if you like. Yeah. Hello. Oh. Do you want to introduce yourself? Okay. So I can see from the chat, yeah, there's quite a nice mix of people in different areas of health and social care. So that's really good. Different levels of seniority as well. So that's good. Hi, Adele. Nice to see members of the team as well that I recognise. That's nice. So now, if you just put a an emoji in the chat that kind of represents how you feel about research? Is it something that you're happy about? Is it something that you're scared about? Normally when I ask this, oh, that's good. Normally when I ask this, I get a few teary faces or devil faces or something like that. But no, looks good so far. Mind blown, love it. Thanks. Be thoughtful, love. Yeah, great. Hands up. Lots of thoughtful faces. Good. Amazing. Something's on fire. Not sure what. Yeah. It's good. My glass of green. Thumbs up. Except they're all. Someone's asleep. Sorry, Alice. It'll liven up in a minute, I'm sure. Lots of thoughtful faces. I like that. And a few other mixed opinions. Okay, next slide, please, Jay. Okay. So I guess avoiding the chat now, this is more just for you to have a think about it, I suppose. What does research actually mean to you? What are the words that it kind of conjures up to you when you kind of think about it? Just to get a level of kind of insight into how much you've engaged with that, I suppose. And if you do want to, you can drop these words in the chat, that's fine. But no pressure on you to do that. Yeah, problem solving. Growth, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Okay, getting towards some of the reasons why we do research. Yeah. Yeah, discovery. Good. Great, thank you. Jay, if you'll go to the next slide, and hopefully some of these words are on there. So these are the kind of things I guess we tend to associate in the things, and it reflects a lot of what you've said anyway. So that's good. So we're all kind of on the same page. So we tend to think about research as being systematic. There's a scientific approach, whether that's following natural sciences or social sciences. There's usually some kind of project. So you've got a beginning and an end point to a piece of research, typically kind of searching for answers or solving a problem. So there's actually that purpose underpinning what we're doing, and we tend to apply some kind of methods to help answer those questions or to solve that kind of problem, all in the pursuit of maybe generating knowledge, which for some that might be kind of evidence when we think about evidence-based practice. Some of you might be thinking about research as being kind of the publications we read. So that's kind of the output that we're focusing on, maybe. Always using kind of some form of data, and that can take many different kind of forms. And I think somebody said growth, and I kind of think about that in terms of innovation, I suppose. So growing, you can grow knowledge, obviously, but maybe growing kind of the way we kind of do things in terms of our research. So that's good to know. We're all kind of on a similar kind of page of understanding around research. So that's great. Thanks for that. Next slide, please, Jane. Okay, so slightly different one. So why do you think research is important in health and social care? So you've already mentioned kind of evidence base. Just be nice to hear a few more kind of thoughts about why you think it might be important. Again, answers in the chat, please. Like that, patient focused, very nice. Best treatment. continuing a similar kind of theme, aren't we? Yeah, around summing up best practice, really, isn't it? Better experiences for patients. Yep, so they feel heard. Yeah, very good. Yeah, improve aspects of care. Yeah, so maybe not just the treatment aspects, so maybe other things about healthcare engagement and things. Yeah. Really good. I'll let those keep filtering in. So on the next slide, we've got a short kind of video from some of the leaders in research from primary care, social care, and also public health as well. So we've asked them to share their kind of views on why they think research is important in health and social care. So I'll leave them to speak. And the audio, we tested it seems to be okay, but the video is a bit jumpy. So just be aware of that, really.
Can you hear the audio?
Yeah.
Primary care research is critically important to the NHS. More than 90% of patient contacts happen in primary care and community settings, yet traditionally most research happens in our hospitals. Now, hospitals do amazing work and the research that comes out is fantastic and world leading. But as a GP, I need to have evidence that supports the needs of my patients and their families. To do this properly, we need to make sure that we have high quality research happening in primary care settings. By doing this, we can ensure that the right questions are asked of the right populations. That makes the life as a GP much easier. As head of Keele University School of Medicine, I want to make sure that my students are aware that evidence happens and is collected from all parts of the NHS and care systems. If we don't do this, we can't begin to improve the health of our nation. I'm very fortunate to also be director of the NIHR School for Primary Care Research. This role allows me to shape the future research agenda for primary care, making sure that we fund the very best and the most appropriate research to help patients and their families.
Sometimes it seems like research and
Sorry, Jay, the audio's gone a bit
practice in social work and social
funny.
care are
Just want to pause it. Let it self-catch up. Maybe just turn the sound down a little bit.
million miles away from each other. But something I feel very strongly about is the fact that actually these two areas of practice are much more similar than we might expect, both in terms of what we do, but also how we do it. In social work practice and social care practice, what we're aiming to do is get the best possible outcomes for service users and carers we work with. Research can help us to identify the best interventions or to predict possible outcomes working with individuals or working with families in particular contexts. In social work and social care practice, we're also having to gather lots of different kinds of information and evaluate that information in order to plan interventions and plan our future practice. So that process is exactly the same in research. So social work practice and research for social work and social care is aligned in terms of the way in which we work. But that motivation, that goal of finding the best outcomes for service users and carers in different ways of working, both with individuals and with families in different contexts, is at the heart of driving forwards a research base in social work and social care. Sometimes I hear people working.
Might just stop the video there, Jay. Sorry, the volume's gone a bit. The sound's gone a bit weird, hasn't it? But I guess covered some key points there. I think we can share that video anyway after the webinar today, so you can view it in full. But some of the key points I guess there around research and how it kind of can provide this bit of a glue in terms of connecting practice with patients, informing kind of how we relate to our patients, what we advise, and what kind of service we kind of provide. And and trying to centre that upon patient experience and improving kind of outcomes in terms of the treatments that we provide and things. So hopefully that kind of came through. Like I say, we'll share the video afterwards so you can kind of view it in full. And particularly the last person that speaks on this speaks from more of a public health angle and gives a really nice story about linked to kind of COVID and the emergence of evidence really in more of a public kind of mindset really. Okay, next slide please. Okay, so we were supposed to hear from the professionals. We heard from a couple. What we wanted to share was a view from a member of the public as well. So we've one of our members of the public has contributed this quote just to say about how they've been involved in research over the years and what contributions they've made. So I'll just leave that for you to read for yourselves. Okay, hopefully that's given you long enough to read that. So I guess this member of the public's reflecting on all the different levels of research that they've been involved in and been able to influence. Alice, yeah, did you have a question? If so, maybe put it in the
Sorry,
chat.
I did that
yeah,
by accident.
That's all right. No worries. These things happen. Yep. Okay. So yeah. So this member of the public obviously been involved in lots of different research over the years, and at lots of different kind of levels, and involved in different groups and things. So really had an opportunity to influence kind of what direction research has taken. So next slide, please, Jay. So what we found working within the NHS and working within the local trust is that there's lots of kind of barriers, and these tend to be shared among lots of different staff members when it comes to and lots of practitioners, lots of clinicians, lots of corporate staff as well within NHS services. Lots of barriers that prevent them from engaging in research in the way that they might want to. So common things tend to be, I don't have the time, it's too expensive, I don't know where to go, don't maybe see the relevance of research within their role, and perhaps it's too complicated. The language is too complex, and it's just, yeah, don't want to get involved with that. My life's hard enough, I guess. So these are kind of the barriers that we've been trying to address through our work through the STARS programme. So what we've tried to produce is something that's free, something that's flexible in terms of what we're offering, so people can dip in and out of it as they kind of choose and as it kind of suits their kind of working life and style and working hours and the demands that obviously shift throughout the year. Delivered something that's more at a kind of introductory level, so it enables people, regardless of their kind of background in research, how much engagement they've had already, whether they've studied a module as part of a degree or whether they've had no real engagement at all with research. It kind of provides a way in for those people, or a way to maybe refresh their skills. And what we also wanted to develop was a recognizable brand. So we've developed STARS, and everything that all of our training kind of sits with under that kind of banner, and it's something that people recognize, they feel comfortable with, and they kind of know what to expect. So they know the kind of style of delivery and the style of kind of resources they're going to get. They're going to be, it's a safe kind of training program, and we hold people's hands, I suppose, and guide them through kind of research as we kind of go along. So if we go on to the next slide, I'll talk through a little bit more detail about how we designed STARS and what actually it involves. So through some early consultation work with members of staff at our local trust, we identified 3 different kind of types of people who wanted to engage with research, and they had 3 very different kind of ambitions, I suppose. So this first person wanted to know how to apply research evidence in their own practice. The second was more interested in wanting to help recruit participants and patients into existing research, and so to give their service users the opportunity to be involved in research. And this third type of person wanted to develop their own research ideas and lead on their own studies going forward. And these were the kind of 3 people we had in mind when we were designing STARS and putting together all of the resources that are under that kind of umbrella. So next slide, please. So the kind of core components of our STARS programme are three kind of learning pathways. So you might think about these as kind of traditional modules that you'd have in your undergraduate degree. So this first module focuses on research evidence in practice. So it's designed to improve awareness about research and to encourage learners to be able to pick up research papers, read them, understand them, and then think about how they can apply those kind of key findings from those papers into their own practice and understand how that can influence what they kind of do day to day. The second pathway, again, suits that second learner, second individual that we'd identified, and focuses on research delivery. So this is about developing people as what we call principal investigators. So they, within the trust that they work in or the NHS service they work in, they can apply to be the local investigator for a nationwide study. So they can do all of the, or support all of the recruitment of participants within that kind of local site, and that contributes to a national kind of mission, a national project that's ongoing. And we call this kind of portfolio research. So essentially provides all of the training and skills that that individual would need to put that national level kind of research project into practice in a local kind of setting. And then that third kind of set of workshops and a pathway that we're leading people down is the research leader pathway. So again, focusing more on providing people with the skills necessary to take their kind of initial research idea, develop it, identify what kind of methods of data collection and analysis they want to apply, and think about kind of things at a deeper level in terms of designing their own research and maybe applying for research funding to support that research project going forward. So next slide, please. So within each of those pathways, like I said, they're kind of designed like modules, so you get particular sets of workshops linked to those overall kind of ambitions and directions of the pathway, really. So in research evidence in practice, we have lots of workshops around developing critical appraisal skills. So again, being able to pick up a research paper and critically appraise it, assess its qualities, assess its challenges and barriers and things, and then you can think about how you might then apply that in practice. We've got sessions on literature searching, literature reviewing, more in-depth look at how you kind of interpret findings from papers and implement those in practice. And we've got a session on service evaluation and audit, which when you become members of NHS organisations, they tend to be a bit more everyday kind of practice, the evaluations and audits. So there's something you can do within more in your kind of everyday work. And then you might think about how you might develop those evaluation projects and audits into full kind of research projects. Within the research delivery pathway, the sessions we lead are around how to be a good principal investigator, and some of the kind of more organisational, operational kind of techniques and skills, like in introducing you to research governance processes, informed consent, how you can take consent from participants and how you manage the documents that are around that, how you manage kind of site files, so all of the study documents you might have as part of a research project, how you kind of manage those, and how you complete some of the report forms that you have to, and manage kind of safety and things like that. So all the kind of procedural stuff you need to know to deliver research in a local kind of setting. And then in the research leader pathway, we focus more on how you create a research question, early ideas around research ethics, philosophy around research as well. We don't go too kind of heavy into the kind of concepts and things like that, but it's more a general kind of introduction, just so you're familiar with these kind of concepts and things if you want to kind of take your learning kind of forward. And then we think a bit more practically in terms of data collection and analysis, and also run a session on how to involve service users in your research as well. So we cover lots of different grounds, and the idea is that members of staff can kind of dip in and out depending on kind of their individual ambitions and kind of where they want to take their research, so they can dip in to these different pathways. They don't have to complete a whole pathway from beginning to end. So next slide, please. So in addition to all of the workshops that we provide within those three kind of designated pathways, we have lots of other support as well available to learners on the programme. So we have some additional seminars. So similar to this kind of webinar. So we might take a particular topic. It might be developing intellectual property rights or something like that around your project, or it might be introducing you to a particular research support service or something like that, like the NIHR RSS. We have mentorship programs as well, and they're kind of in development at the minute. Sarah's on the call and she's leading a research engagement initiative as well, trying to identify ways that members of staff within the trust can shadow opportunities within research, so shadowing ethics panel meetings and things like that, just to give them a bit of an insight into the real world of research. So we do a lot of that kind of work, and we have trust-led conferences and things that you can engage with just to understand what the trust is doing across kind of research topics and themes. And we do evaluation alongside of this. So we're always checking in to see how well things are working and how well they're not. And we've recently published a paper just identifying what difference this STARS program is making to people within the trust. Okay, so that's a very brief kind of overview of what we do as part of the kind of STARS program. So lots of different ideas and opportunities, I suppose, in there. So there's teaching workshops, and there's all this other stuff around it as well to help support people into research. Next slide, please. So I'll hand over to you, Jay, to introduce this.
Yes, hello. Thanks, Tom. So this is just the next video is from Louise Hansford, and she's one of our STARS learners. So she joined the STARS program in 2021, and she's been involved since. So we just let me go to the next slide, and I'll click play, and you can hear from Louise. Can you hear okay?
Yeah.
My name's Louise Hansford, and I'm currently working on the NHS Addictions Provider Alliance's project Hep C You Later, which is a groundbreaking initiative to achieve Hep C elimination across the NHS community drug and alcohol services. So I developed a special interest in hepatitis C back in 2012, and at the time there wasn't a lot of resources or funding available for any projects. So I developed a interest in research initially to be able to put in some funding and grant applications. And obviously when you're doing those, you have to use the available evidence. So really from around 2012, I was starting to explore the research on hepatitis C. So my day-to-day work, I set up a hepatitis C project back in 2012. And then in 2015, when I transferred into Inclusion, who I work for now, I was able to bring all that knowledge and experience into the project. And in 2016, I applied for some funding, and we needed the local clinical commissioning group to support the application. So again, I needed to supply some evidence to the local CCGs for them to back the funding application. So in 2017, they actually did that, and we were able to secure just under £30,000 to bring a project into handover. So I've got a lot of experience of how I can bring research into my daily role, how we can involve people in the research, and how we can improve services for the people that access them. We first found out about the STARS programme during COVID, and we had a mail shot from Central Services, and at the time I was just about to embark on a master's in public health, so it seemed an ideal opportunity. I'd previously done my Bachelor of Science degree and did a literature review for the dissertation, and I was very keen when doing my master's to do my own research project. So it was excellent timing for me to upskill myself in research techniques, build a network, and learn some more about different methodologies. So the first time I did the STARS programme, I did every single session just to refresh my knowledge, to learn some new skills, and to meet everybody and really feel part of that network. When I was conducting my master's research project, I went back into the data management sessions, the one on ethical approval, the one on literature reviews. And I think the biggest gift for me from the STARS programme was having a network of trusted peers that I could go to with my own research and just ask for help. I just want to give a shout out at this point to Emma George. I didn't know that the library were on hand to support us with literature reviews. Emma has just been absolutely fantastic, and and the people on the research panel and the tutors for the different sessions, particularly on qualitative research, really helped me get my search terms right, so I wasn't wasting hours and hours of valuable time. So they've absolutely supported every bit of my work, just considering the patient or the person involvement and what they might need within that, and just being mindful of how we present, and the ethical approval process is quite long and daunting. So just having people to advise and support you and share their experiences of it really empowered and motivated me to persevere when my ethical approval was getting rejected and rejected and rejected. The whole process took 9 months. So yeah. So the first time I did the STARS programme, I did every single session just to refresh my knowledge, to learn some new skills and to meet everybody and really feel. So I think my ethical approval and how long that process took really threw everything else out, because I'd allowed about 8 to 10 weeks for that process, and it ended up taking 9 months. So everything else that I'd sequenced got knocked out. So that was challenging. I think I was really blessed that I did the first cohort of STARS. So the online world hadn't really got going. So I was able to dedicate the time to the STARS lessons and the preparation, the pre-reading and the kind of reflection afterwards and the reflective diaries. When I revisited the STARS as I was undertaking my master's research, that became more challenging. There were more constraints on my time. The other challenges have been kind of balancing the day job with the research, and I'm menopausal, so reading research papers and doing literature reviews, I had to schedule that in kind of for the mornings, because by the afternoon my cognitive abilities were starting to diminish. So yeah, and I just think it's we can get torn from pillar to post. I've been really blessed that my manager is really supportive. The STARS programme was part of my personal development plan. It featured in my yearly appraisal. So I was able to have some dedicated time, and it's really served me well. Yeah, it's been remarkable, really. So previously I was quite hesitant and reluctant to take part in research projects, mainly because of fear or looking inadequate or not really knowing what I was doing. So since the STARS programme, I've been part of research with several universities. I've taken a really active role in a longitudinal study called the Unlinked Anonymous Survey of People Who Inject Drugs, and really utilised the reports. I've written sections for UKHSA reports. So yeah, and I've also signed up to be a peer reviewer for NIHR grant applications. So yeah, it's really transformed my work and opened up lots of different doors and avenues. And what I would say is I'm currently on secondment, and that secondment will finish. So actually being able to understand research and has given me a whole nother skill set that will only help me in my future career. So we're one of the projects that I am part of the leadership team for is the Wessex Clinical Van, which is a project that runs along the South Coast, Hampshire and Dorset. And so we are joining forces with UKHSA to look at a project about returning people back to Hep C pathways. So we will be training people to be peer researchers and potentially undertaking 20 qualitative interviews as part of a larger research project. I would definitely say go and explore it, chat to your research and innovation teams. The STARS programme, All the facilitators are really lovely and really like it when people reach out just to ask some questions. There's no stupid questions. You know, as a result of doing my own research, I've been all around the world sharing my research. My network is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, I didn't know whether I could be a researcher, and I've been able to do my own project and reap the rewards from that. And research is a real way to make an incredible difference to the people that we serve. And we will all come across people in our day-to-day business as usual jobs that we absolutely know their stories need to be told. So yeah, just please do check out the STARS program. It's a phenomenal program. I've watched with enthusiasm and excitement as the program's grown and developed. And when I undertake my next program, I'll be jumping back into some new sessions. I think interesting, enlightening and empowering would be my 3 words. And if you wanted me to expand on that, I think the facilitators made the content interesting. They brought it to life. There was a mixture of delivery methods, so it wasn't, to coin a phrase, death by PowerPoint. There was small group work, there was larger group work. So it kept my attention and it kept me fully engaged.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Next.
Thanks, Jay.
Slide.
Thanks for pulling that video together as well. Some really honest reflections, I think, from Louise, and really grateful for her comments around STARS and what kind of impact it's had for her. Hopefully some of that rang true to you. I guess the topic that Louise covered maybe isn't what everyone else is interested in or researching, but hopefully that kind of journey and the networks that she's developed and all of the different benefits she's derived from STARS can makes sense to people in the audience. Okay, so in terms of how you can access STARS, so at the minute it's free to access for any member of staff at Midlands Partnership Trust. I guess if you want to access any of the workshops going forward, if you're kind of not sure if you want to commit to a master's and you kind of want to dip your toe first and have a bit of a taste of what kind of research methods looks like, or some of those other, or some critical appraisal kind of sessions and things like that, then send an email. We'll put some details at the end on one of the final slides. So send us an email, and if we get enough people interested in doing that, then we'll make some sessions available to you and do what we can to facilitate that for you. Next slide, please. Just need to click for the graphic. Yeah, cool. So I guess the main purpose of this talk was to mention about STARS, but I just wanted to cover another training opportunity and resource that's available to you right now, and you can sign up for this, and it's free as well. So off the back of STARS, we developed something on a platform called FutureLearn. So this is an 8-week short course, very introductory, designed for novices who want to understand a little bit more about the research landscape in health and social care in the UK, want to kind of engage a bit in kind of research concepts and things like that. Again, really early kind of stage. So we designed the short course. So again, this is freely available to you. It's 8 weeks, it's 2 hours a week. There isn't much commitment in terms of kind of homeworks and things like that. There's a few kind of reflection activities and things like that, but lots of really interactive resources are available to you through this. So there's a QR code there on the screen, and we'll provide a link to this course later, but please do kind of have a look at that, and I'll talk through a little bit more in a second about how that's actually structured. But I would advise, if you're not sure whether you want to dip your toe into research, then have a look at this course first, and hopefully it'll help answer some of the questions you might have, or relieve some of those kind of hesitancies that you've got. Next slide, please. Cool. Yeah, so like I said, it's an 8-week short course that each week covers a separate topic. So the topics are there. So we have a getting started week. So this is a bit of an orientation into how to use FutureLearn and how to engage with the course. We've got a session then, a week then on balancing work and research commitments, because we realise that is a difficult thing to do, and it is a challenge for most people. So we've got some first-hand experience of that within that week of content. Then a week on getting involved in research. So there's lots of different ways you can do that, and that's kind of those 3 pathways I mentioned about with STARS, that's kind of 3 different directions you might want to take into your involvement in research. Then we take you through the kind of research process, really. So from developing an idea, finding and securing funding, obtaining approvals, involving members of the public in your research, and then sharing research with others. So going through that kind of publication route. And that might not be for everyone. Everyone might not want to lead their own research, but I think it's important to understand the different steps in the process around research. So again, you can join that kind of process at any stage, really. So there's lots of interactive content in there. There's some lecture-based materials. There's some podcasts. There's some videos in there. There's lots of kind of interactive games even in there. So lots to keep you engaged and to make it just a bit friendlier, because I know research can feel a bit daunting sometimes to get involved with. Next slide, please. So just some feedback from my learners. So we launched this course 18 months ago now. We've had I think it's around 1,500 people from across the world engage with it, and we've got a really good satisfaction rating, if you like, on it. So we think it's good, and people are telling us it's good. And this is some of the feedback from a couple of the learners, just basically being very grateful for the course, and it's giving them confidence, which is kind of what we were hoping, really, because we know, again, research can be daunting. So anything we can do to support people's confidence in engaging with research is a plus, really. And it's enjoyable. So I think those are the 2 key things we wanted to focus on: make it enjoyable, accessible, and build people's confidence, really. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to give you a quick taster. So that initial video you saw in the presentation today, the reflections from the 3 leaders in research. So that was part of the Future Learn course, and we just wanted to show you a quick video of one of the other resources as part of the course, and hopefully the sound's all right. So over to you, Jay.
Google Scholar is a vast, free-to-access database of journal articles, book chapters, abstracts, etc. In this short recording, we're going to explore the components that make up Google Scholar, as well as running demonstration literature search. To start using Google Scholar, we simply need to open a web browser, like I've done here, and enter scholar.google.com into the address bar. I'm sure you've already noticed the similarity between Google Scholar and the regular Google search. This just makes it nice and easy for us to interact with. I'm now going to enter my first search terms, social work outcomes. I just then click on the blue button to initiate the search. Let's take a look at the components on the screen at the moment. Starting from the top, we can see that our social work outcomes search term has returned almost 6.5 million results. So moving on to the timescale area, if we provide a particular year or year range using the custom range option below, we can focus our search on more recent, likely more relevant research materials. I haven't specified any dates, which is one of the contributing factors for the 6.5 million hits my initial search has returned. Let's move down to how we can sort our list. Sorting by relevance means that Google Scholar will have picked up words matching our search term in article titles and abstracts. More about those later in the course. I've sorted our list of results by relevance and not by the publication date. However, instead of sorting by relevance, we can also sort by date, so that the most recently published articles in our results are presented at the top of the list. I've left sort by relevance on, and if we look to the list of returned results, we can begin to understand why Google Scholar has sorted them as it has, just by looking at the words and combinations of our search criteria in the titles alone. Moving down, we get to types of article. We can either select any type or review articles. Now, a review article is also called a literature review, or a review of literature, or a systematic review. It's basically a survey of previously published research on the topic. It generally gives an overview of current thinking on the topic. But unlike original research titles, it will not present any new results. Okay, so I'm leaving my search as any type of article. However, if you're looking for literature reviews, then you can click on review articles.
Okay, Jay, we can probably stop it there.
Moving further down.
Okay, so it's just a quick kind of insight into the kind of the level of the quality of the resources that we've got within the Future Learn course, and hopefully you can see that it's very clear in terms of the explanation around things like Google Scholar and different resources that you might apply within your approach to research and things that you kind of do. So hopefully you've seen the quality there and you're convinced that you can go and sign up for that course after this session. So next slide, please, Jay. Okay, so just revisiting the objectives that we had for the webinar. So we've covered the topic of why research is important in health and social care, talked about how we generate an evidence base for practice, improve service quality. Something to also reflect on is actually being involved in research, as well as having a practitioner kind of role, can actually support better job satisfaction. Because it gives you, I guess, a bit of a break from the everyday grind of clinical practice and being a practitioner, etc. And it gives you an opportunity to focus in on a particular topic that's of interest to you, and you can kind of drive forward innovation and intervention development, etc., treatment, and basically care for your patients and service users through your own research and methods, really. We've also introduced you to both STARS and the Future Learn course, starting out in health and social care research. So you've got two resources there within the local area that well, within the West Midlands that you might be able to access. You can particularly access the Future Learn course wherever you are in the world, and we can, if we get some expressions of interest in particular workshops for STARS, we can look at making those available to you, and so we can see how that goes, really. So next slide, please. I just wanted to end. I don't know, Jay, if you want to introduce this.
Yeah, no problem. So this is one of my colleagues. I work closely with Matt Whitaker. He's a practice educator within the Research and Innovation Department at Midlands Partnership University Foundation Trust. So I'm just going to click play, and it's basically Matt just introducing his role and how he came to be in the role and some of the little snippets. So hopefully the sound is okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt Whitaker and I'm the practice educator for the research delivery team. I'm mainly responsible for designing and providing any training for the team to ensure that our staff are competent with all their research tasks, and then I monitor anything for quality assurance for the team and the studies we are doing. I have a degree in physiotherapy and worked as a physiotherapist for about 8 years before I moved to the research team. There are so many different routes into research, so whatever you choose to do, there'll likely be transferable skills that you can use in research. But I'd always say, if you're interested, come to the research team and spend a bit of work experience with us to see if it's right for you. A piece of professional advice I would give my teenage self would be, do be brave and suggest change. Your opinions really do matter and may lead to things being better, so do use your voice. And the most rewarding part of my job is working with a great team of people and we do may have a real impact on improving healthcare for our patients.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Matt. Reinforcing some of the key points from the presentation, really, about why it's helpful, useful, and yeah, awesome, I suppose, to get involved in research as part of your career. Okay, next slide, please. I think it's just the thank you now, isn't it? Yeah, so thanks for listening. Hopefully that's been helpful in terms of learning a little bit more about what we've been doing at the local trust in terms of our work on STARS, and also the Future Learn course as well. And hopefully we've inspired a few people to keep going down this track in terms of their research journeys, and possibly signing up for the masters in the future, and possibly signing up for some of the short courses we've mentioned already in the workshops. Okay, next slide. I think there's an evaluation to do. Okay, so there's, I don't know if anyone's been on menti.com before, but if you go on, enter that into your browser, at the top of the screen, there should be an opportunity to put in a user code, and that'll open up an evaluation questionnaire for you to complete. I think it's only a short questionnaire, but it's helpful just to feedback on how you found this webinar and whether it's been useful or not. So in terms of whether you can access STARS as an undergraduate student, so if you've spotted, we can send around a prospectus of the STARS programme. If you spot any workshops that you think would be useful to you, I think if we get enough interest, then we might be able to give access to you. So hopefully that answers your question. And we're happy to take any other questions as well. I can see in the chat that Laura shared the full programme of webinars as well. So there's lots of things to get involved with there, isn't there, I think. Hopefully the silence means everyone's busy completing the evaluation form. We're happy to, well, I'm happy to stay on for the next 8 minutes if you've got any questions and things.
I've got a question, Tom, if that's okay.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, go on.
For either you or Sarah, what would be your so Tom, you first, what's your favourite research project that you've been involved in? If that's not too on the spot.
Yeah, you could have warned me about that.
I know, look at me ad hoc.
Yeah. Yeah, I've worked on quite a few different projects as well. My PhD was probably one that stands out. So I looked at explored experiences of older adults in rural areas and their experiences of chronic pain, which really kind of allowed me to explore a few different methods in research that I've not used before, wasn't even aware of before. So that was helpful and also set me off on my track in terms of career as well. So that's probably one of them. I'll hand over to somebody else to answer that.
Or have you got a favourite that you could give an example?
I think that's a really difficult project. You're also question because you're also testing my memory. I don't think I've got a favourite project, but I particularly, and I moved into this after my PhD, I particularly like using primary care medical records for research because you can answer so many different questions in different fields and use them in so many different ways. So I think, and when it all comes together, it makes it really helpful. And that doesn't involve particularly working with patients, except making sure you've got your question right and you interpreted that data correctly. There's no people in the study contributing research data, but you can answer the questions that people ask so often using that data. So I really like doing that. I'd encourage everybody to think about what research really means and how broad it is, because the things that Tom does and the things that I do are really worlds apart, but we could be looking at the same sorts of questions and we can work together on something, even though we do very, very different things. So it can just open you up to working in such broad teams. I think it's probably research is probably much bigger than you think it is, but you don't have to be able to do all of it. So.
Then is there any questions? I've been struggling to view the chat, so I can't see anything past 105, I'm afraid.
Oh, there's a few questions, Jay.
I'm trying to respond to as many as I can.
I think our STARS email address is still presented on the screen, so we'll be sharing contact details as well, won't we, via email?
Soraya, I think there's a question about STARS, but there's also insights if you've already got some experience. I think it depends on what direction you're wanting to go in, probably. It might be worth having a chat with somebody specifically about your situation. Sorry, that
that's
wasn't
just-
very helpful. Should Sarah email the STARS address and she can be pointed in the right direction? Would that be best?
Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, the chat's quieting down now, so
Okay. There may be other people like me who couldn't see the full chat. I don't know if there's a bit of a glitch or whether it's because I'm the presenter, but there is also a Q&A function, so I guess. And please do email us if you've got any questions.
Yeah, there's nothing in the Q&A function at present.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. There's no more questions. So thank you ever so much, Tom and Jay, for your time, and for Sarah, for giving us such an insightful look at the STARS programme. Obviously, this is an ongoing engagement programme for the Insight programme, and as Laura has put in the chat, there is a programme of events with another webinar which will be taking place in November. So if anybody does want to register their interest, then they can contact us, and the email address is in the chat as well. And when this is ready, the recording is ready, we can also send it out and we will put it on the website as well, so that other people who were registered but unable to attend can also attend. So if that's okay with everyone, I will close the session. So thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you on the next one. Okay.
Thanks, Kylie. Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Kylie.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.